You step into the Pentagon. Instantly, the air feels charged, like every decision made here hums across continents. Right now, inside these walls, the fate of thousands of American soldiers is being shaped. Orders are drawn, supply lines mapped, strategies debated, all while men in distant foxholes fight and hope for the dawn. It's 1941. The world is at war, but America is still finding its footing. Generals pace the corridors, planners hunch over tables heavy with maps of Europe and the Pacific. Radios crackle with messages from distant fronts, every word a thread connecting here to Normandy, to Midway, to Guadalcanal. Outside, troops train tirelessly, writing letters home filled with longing, laughter, and fear. Inside, their lives are the pulse of every decision. The Pentagon is more than a building. It's a living brain of American resolve. In 1942, as its doors officially open, officers from the Army, Navy, and Marines work side by side, blending intelligence, logistics, and strategy. Every hallway echoes with debate. Do we strike now? One officer asks. Or wait for better conditions? Another replies. Each choice carries the weight of thousands of lives heading toward combat. In 1943, the world changes inside these walls. Operation Overlord, the plan to liberate Europe, takes shape. The Joint Chiefs of Staff scrutinize landing craft capacities, German defenses, and tidal charts. Meteorologists forecast conditions down to the hour. We choose the hour that gives our boys the best chance, one says quietly. Outside, soldiers cling to hope, unaware of the calculations guiding their steps toward Omaha and Utah beaches. Every report matters. Codebreakers deliver decrypted messages from Japanese commanders. Officers trace fleets in the Pacific, calculating every move. American soldiers on distant islands write home about sunsets, the roar of waves, the bond of brothers in arms. Their words echo here, influencing strategy, reminding planners of the human cost behind each map and chart. The corridors of the Pentagon hum with urgency. Staff officers pore over casualty reports from Italy, North Africa, and France. They study supply shortages, fuel allocations, and troop morale. Letters from soldiers arrive, sometimes filled with humor to mask fear. One sergeant writes, "We cover each other's backs like brothers." Those words carry weight here. They guide decisions that could save lives, that could turn the tide of battle. In briefing rooms, commanders study paratrooper drops, naval movements, and air support schedules. They think of the 101st Airborne landing in the dark, the Marines hacking through jungles under relentless fire. Every calculation is infused with respect for the men who carry out these orders. Each decision honors courage, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of victory. Outside, American troops fight in bitter cold, in mud, under relentless fire. But the Pentagon remains the nerve center, connecting battlefields with decisions. Officers recall every letter, every story, every act of bravery. They whisper names into margins, remembering the faces behind the statistics. Every supply convoy, every airstrike, every reinforcement stems from this living command center. Allies coordinate through these walls. British dispatches, Canadian troop reports, Australian intelligence, all converge here. Planners knit together an enormous web of strategy and logistics, always keeping in mind the men on the ground. Corporals write home about shared hardships, their letters forming an invisible link that planners carry into decisions. We fight because we believe in each other. In quiet offices, advisors stand by windows, gazing over Washington. Their minds race through battle reports from Sicily, Hurtgen Forest, and the Pacific Islands. They carry the weight of telegrams, letters, and casualty figures. When a young officer asks about reserves or timing, the answer is calm, measured, and resolute. We do what is right for the mission and for those who serve. Morning turns to night, and still the war rages. Orders flow out, directing reinforcements, coordinating supplies, scheduling attacks. Radios hum, telephones ring, messengers dash with updates. Somewhere a mother folds a letter, praying. Somewhere a soldier peers over a foxhole lip, clutching a photo. And here in the Pentagon, the next set of orders is drafted, orders that will shape the next phase of the war. Every sunrise brings new reports, new decisions, new weight. Officers study maps of Europe, of Pacific Islands, tracing the paths of armies, navies, and air forces. The 29th Infantry Division moves through Normandy hedgerows, the 101st Airborne descends into unknown fields, Marines storm fortified beaches. Planners follow every movement, balancing probability with courage, hope with necessity. Reports arrive breathless with updates: firefights near Aachen, tanks bogged in mud, medics saving comrades under fire. Officers sit, absorbing every detail, remembering the sacrifices that give purpose to strategy. Letters from chaplains describe prayer in the mud, a shared sense of humanity. The Pentagon becomes a silent witness to bravery, guiding the hands that shape history. And yet, despite every calculation, every plan, uncertainty remains. The building hums, alive with tension, with anticipation. Supplies must reach the right hands at the right time. Reinforcements must arrive before dawn. Troops must step into history, carrying with them the hopes of home, the guidance of their leaders, and the spirit of freedom. Every step in the Pentagon echoes with responsibility. Every conversation, every calculation, every plan is infused with respect for the men on the front lines. Generals, officers, codebreakers, logisticians, all share a singular understanding. They are the unseen hand guiding the courageous, the brave, the relentless who fight for a world worth defending. And tonight, as the next orders are drafted, a message arrives from the front. It's brief, almost cryptic, but its implications shake the entire building. The details are still classified, but the urgency is unmistakable. The officers glance at one another, knowing that what comes next could change everything. Lives hang in the balance, decisions must be made within hours, and history waits with bated breath. Inside the Pentagon, the heartbeat of strategy accelerates. Telephones ring incessantly. Maps are traced again. Orders are rewritten. And somewhere, across oceans, American soldiers prepare to move, unaware that the next instruction could decide the outcome of the campaign. And just as a junior officer reaches for the final set of plans, a coded message arrives that stops everyone in their tracks. It's short. It's unexpected. And it holds the fate of thousands of men, and the direction of the war itself. The room goes silent. Every eye is on the message. Every mind races. Every second feels like an eternity. Because what this message reveals changes everything. The coded message trembles on the table, its implications sending ripples through the room. Officers lean in. Analysts whisper numbers, cross-checking reports. Outside, Washington hums as if unaware that the entire course of World War II could pivot on what's about to happen. Somewhere across the Atlantic, American soldiers prepare to move into unknown territory, unaware that their lives, their victories, and their survival are being measured here in these rooms. It's June 5, 1944. The eve of D-Day. Every piece of intelligence, every forecast, every supply line converges toward one decision. Generals trace maps with steady fingers. Colonels confer quietly, weighing tides, moonlight, and enemy fortifications. One officer recalls letters from his men: "We trust you to lead us home." And now, tonight, that trust will be tested as never before. Inside the Pentagon, operations officers double-check troop manifests, landing craft schedules, and artillery support. They consider contingencies. What if weather turns? What if resistance is fiercer than expected? What if communications fail? Each scenario is debated, argued, refined. In a small office, a young clerk reads a letter from a private stationed in England, describing the quiet before the storm, the nerves, the camaraderie. The words echo in the minds of planners. Courage and hope are as critical as maps and numbers. Meanwhile, across the Channel, American soldiers sleep under canvas, their weapons stacked beside them. Some write final letters home, some hum songs their mothers taught them, some stare silently at the stars. None know that the Pentagon holds the final calculation for their fate, the exact timing, the location of the first landing, the sequence of waves. The men are ready. But the plan must be perfect. In the war rooms, officers coordinate with British intelligence, naval commanders, and Air Force strategists. Reports flow in from reconnaissance flights, weather stations, and spies behind enemy lines. Every scrap of information is weighed: enemy troop placements, gun emplacements, minefields, the alignment of the tides. The Joint Chiefs of Staff debate in hushed tones, balancing aggression and prudence. One general looks up and says, "The men are ready, it's our responsibility to match them." Across the building, code breakers monitor Japanese and German communications. Every intercepted message, every decoded instruction, is fed into the operational picture. Analysts translate, synthesize, and recommend. The room feels alive with the weight of thousands of soldiers on distant shores. In one corner, a senior officer pins photographs of units heading to the beaches, a personal reminder that these are not abstract numbers, they are sons, brothers, fathers, husbands. At last, the order is prepared. Red ink marks the final timetable. Radio operators stand by. Couriers are briefed. Every officer feels the gravity of the moment. For weeks, months, even years, preparations have led to this. Supplies are in place, artillery positions confirmed, naval bombardment scheduled, paratroopers briefed. The strategy is flawless on paper. But history has never been written on paper alone. It depends on courage, on resolve, on the unpredictability of human will. Outside, in the early dawn, American soldiers stir. The 1st Infantry Division, the 29th, the 82nd and 101st Airborne, units trained to precision, bonded by trust, disciplined to endure unimaginable hardships. Letters flutter in their packs, some from mothers, some from sweethearts, some from fathers who fought in the last war. Every word strengthens resolve, reminds them why they fight. And above them, the dawn sky promises both danger and opportunity. Inside, the Pentagon holds its collective breath. Orders are transmitted. Waves of troops will land on the beaches of Normandy in mere hours. Every calculation, every plan, every hope comes down to this moment. Officers glance at one another, understanding that decisions made here, in these quiet rooms, will echo through history. And in that silence, a single new report arrives, unsigned, ambiguous, and alarming. It describes unexpected German troop movements, faster than predicted, approaching sectors where American soldiers will land first. It mentions radar anomalies, unconfirmed intelligence, and a cryptic note about possible resistance stronger than anticipated. The room freezes. Eyes meet. The Joint Chiefs absorb the implication, the landing may face heavier fire. Contingencies must shift. Quick. Precise. Lives are on the line. A young aide rushes to a communications line. Orders are modified, plans recalibrated. Maps are redrawn in minutes. Signals are resent to ships, to landing craft commanders, to airborne units. The building hums with urgency. Outside, the Atlantic churns beneath ships packed with men, munitions, and history itself. Somewhere, a private grips his rifle, unaware of the last-minute changes that will decide whether his unit survives the first waves. The officers know that every second counts. Time becomes a living enemy, ticking relentlessly toward dawn. They weigh risks, call for confirmations, and anticipate every outcome. The codebreakers relay a last-minute German message, revealing a shift in artillery positions. One general mutters, "We've got to move now, no delay." Another adjusts the air support schedules. Every hand moves with precision, trained to absorb chaos and turn it into action. In another room, a naval officer examines the currents along the Normandy beaches. Landing craft must align with tide charts, with cover fire, with the first waves of infantry. One miscalculation could cost thousands of lives. He reviews the orders again, recalling letters from his own son, stationed in England. Every name, every family, every face fuels determination. Finally, the final orders are transmitted. American soldiers across England, the Channel, and the English coastline receive the instructions that will launch the largest amphibious invasion in history. Radios hum. Couriers dash. Officers wipe sweat from foreheads, knowing that the culmination of years of planning, courage, and sacrifice is about to unfold. And then, just as the first light of dawn touches the water, the Pentagon receives one last communication. It is brief, almost indecipherable, but the implication is earth-shattering. Every officer in the room reads it, grasps it, and pales. It's a revelation that could change the timing of the invasion, the lives of every soldier in the first wave, and the course of the entire war. The room falls silent. Fingers hover over maps. Eyes scan every corner, every report, every calculation. Outside, the men wait. Ships creak. Waves crash. Somewhere, the first American soldiers are preparing to step into history. The message is not fully decoded. Its meaning is partially understood, and its consequences are impossible to predict. Officers exchange tense glances. This is no longer strategy, no longer theory. This is fate arriving unannounced, demanding instant action. And then, a single voice breaks the silence. If this is true, it changes everything. Every heart in the room skips a beat. Every officer knows the stakes. Every planner realizes that the next decision, made in these walls, will either secure victory or plunge thousands of men into unforeseen peril. Outside, the sun rises. Across the Atlantic, waves lap against the hulls of ships. In England, paratroopers check their gear. And inside the Pentagon, the world holds its breath. Because the message contains a secret that, if revealed, could alter the course of D-Day itself, and perhaps the entire Second World War. And that secret will not stay hidden for long.